paths that can happen that will be beneficial for you and spiritually uplifting for you.
Yeah.
So you don't need to go try to get a palm reading or a tarot card reading or a psychic reading, because if you go and blindly follow what somebody else says because it's the right thing to do, then you guarantee you're going to have to repeat that lesson.
Yes.
The best thing you can do when you're presented with a tough challenge is to figure out for yourself what you want, because that's what your higher self is waiting for. Your higher self is saying, what do you want? What is your bliss? What is your passion? Because the universe does ultimately say, your wish is my command. That is true. But we also have to differentiate between our conscious desire and then our higher self desire, because we're all here for a purpose. And there are some choices that will align us with our purpose faster and some that will get us more off the path. And everybody says, well, but then the one that aligns with my purpose is the one I want to do because I want to do the right one. And then you got to tell me what that is. No. If it's aligning with your higher self, you will feel it. Like Kerry was saying, it's a resonance.
It gives you energy.
It comes from your heart.
It gives you energy. This is the clue. This is what I always advise people. If you're not sure whether you should do this or you should do that, then whichever one gets you most excited, whichever one gives you the most energy, whichever one gets you talking to your friends about it most, whichever one makes you internally, visually more active about envisioning possible futures, maybe this and maybe that, then that gives you big clues. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Also, I would say that again, it's the experience that matters. That's what you take away from here as a being. So basically, in a sense, making mistakes is the good thing you could do. As long as you make them wholeheartedly and you go into it fully and completely, because you will learn and you will never have to repeat that learning. It will become a part of you if you go through the experience. If you do not follow yourself, ultimately you will have to come back and follow yourself out.
Absolutely.
So that's what you do. You need to go through the experience, not around it, not avoid it, not intellectualize it and try to find, some perfect solution. But no, it actually needs to come through all of you to follow yourself out. And it's all about knowing yourself, and that's what self-realization is all about. You realize yourself, and you only realize yourself through action and living with the consequences of those actions.
The authenticity of your experience. If you are authentic with yourself, you don't have to turn on the TV when something painful happens. You don't have to run to the internet and go look on a website when you've just been yelled at. You can recognize that it's okay to stand up for yourself. You don't have to be the doormat. That's part of what this whole planetary awakening is about with like the Illuminati. It's basically all about the abusive parent and the abused child metaphor, right? That we're standing up to our parents. We're saying, look, you can't rule me anymore. I'm going to make my own choices. I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it.
And if you're talking about the populace and the Illuminati on a societal scale, that's the archetypal codependent relationship.
It's the children waking up to the fact that the parents have been abusive and that now is the time for them to grow up and to take the mantle of responsibility of adulthood. We are basically spiritual children moving as a planet into spiritual adulthood. And in the absence of spiritual adults, we have corrupted father figures and mother figures who are not actually looking out for our best good, except insofar as how they're mirroring our collective shadow back to ourselves and enslaving us so that we will learn, like the Buddhist saying, right? You're sitting there and the master comes up to you and he whacks you on the head with a stick.
Yeah.
What is the spiritual meaning of this? And then the next day he whacks you on the head with a stick. I wonder what this means. There's got to be something, because he's so wise, they're so powerful. Bam, he hits you again. So finally you get tired of it after a while. And, damn it, I'm not... Oh, now you are learning, right? So that's the basis of what's happening to us. We're learning to respect ourselves. Self-respect is the core of getting past addiction. Addictions is fundamentally lack of self-respect. We don't love ourselves, we don't embrace ourselves, and we don't love ourselves enough to take the time to be with our feelings. If you don't love yourself, then your feelings are alien to you. The bad feelings are something that you just want to push away. It's like, no, I just want to stay over here where the light is bright and the grass is green and I'm happy But guess what? The more that you try to do that, the more that it's this little tiny circle that's surrounded by an ocean of shit, right? And in order to really actualize your potential, you got to realize that ocean of shit is yourself, and all you have to do is start looking at it, and the light burns away all the problems. It might come through some emotional release and some pain, but it does happen, and that's really what's happening on the whole planet. Like your interview with Fulford, I mean, he said these things before on rents and so forth, but he has such a positive view because it's true. We have more than enough financial resources on this planet, if they were not being siphoned off to our corrupted parents, that we could end poverty, we could end hunger, we
Absolutely.
could end energy crisis. We have the free energy, we have the anti-gravity, we have all these technologies. When we learn about the consciousness science, we learn about our interconnectedness. Even if 2012 doesn't mean anything, the prophecy will still be fulfilled just by what we have and what we can know. That's such an important point. Even if there is no dimensional shift, it is a de facto equivalent of it by virtue of what is waiting for us as soon as we lift that clamp of planetary control that has been clamped down upon us right now.
Yeah, it'll seem like a new world.
It will.
Yes. That's something that I can wholeheartedly agree with you about, something which is which we haven't talked about actually either publicly or privately, is that I cannot agree personally with what you have said about ascension, but I do agree with the metaphor of this, just exactly as you have described. I would subscribe to that wholeheartedly. One of the very clearly announced signs of hope, and you must have heard this yourself, Dan Burish's on-stage interview with Rob Simone at Laughlin, where he said there will not be a catastrophe, there's going to be a renaissance. Remember that? That was actually very triumphant. It was very inspiring, and I do actually believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. Absolutely. And there may be some growth pains along the way, but I do fully agree with you that that's where we're headed.
And what we're doing with this video right now is helping that to happen. And what you can do to help us is circulate these videos to your friends, turn people on to what we're doing, because publicity is the best way for us to be able to help more people with this message. And it's not like PBS where we're going to say, oh, the phones are ringing, please call. But honestly, you can send us money and that's cool, but the best thing you can do is give us publicity. Get it out there, because that's awesome. People hear about this and it helps them. They feel better.
And
they
be
learn how
the
to
change you want to see.
Yeah. Most important is get authentic, get honest with yourself. Go into the gratitude and live that life of the promise of abundance, and it will start to flow for you. That's a truism that cannot be denied.
Take a few risks, swing out, and you may be astonished with the changes that you see in your own lives and those around you.
Absolutely.